Hey tubers, every Friday, Bart coming at you. Couple things before I get into the mail day. First, I did a quick name change of the channel. Just straight up Bart's Cards. That's what it is. That's what my IG handle is as well. Not that I'm on there overly much, but I frequent it fairly often there. And then honestly, when I switched to the Bart the PSA card guy, I had envisioned a lot more mail days, a lot more PSA submissions and things like that. And I think I've had maybe 2 since I did that because they just ain't coming in. I'm looking at my February and March submissions right now on the screen, and they haven't moved. They went to step 3 right away when they got there, and no progress whatsoever. So not bailing on PSA by any means. They're still my grading company of choice, and I don't choose any of the others. I stick with them, but keeping it simple on the Bart's Cards. As long as Bart's in there, you know who you're talking about. So is what it is. But a lot of changes or occurrences in the hobby, right? I'm not a hot take person, so I let a bunch of people get that out of the way first. PWCC first, and the top card I'll show you is a PWCC win. I got kind of nervous because they were like, no more eBay sales, blah, blah, blah. That did save me a lot of money because there were a whole lot of good football rookies that I was bidding on, vintage stuff or whatever. And I won some cards that I didn't necessarily anticipate. So I was like, oh crap, I kind of blew the budget already and I don't need to win anymore. But it's tough because sometimes the cards go for certain prices. You don't really want to back off too much either. So all those listings just disappeared and I couldn't bid on them. But the one I had paid for already and won a couple of days prior, the eBay listing, even though it was in my purchases or whatever, was grayed out and stuff. And that just looks a little squirrely when it happens. But got that card in today, thankfully. But yeah, so the eBay saying PWCC is shill bidding. Obviously, if you've been doing this a while, and I bid on PWCC like there's no tomorrow. I could care less. It's just the same as I'm not boycotting some restaurant for, their political beliefs or something like that, unless it's just something so egregious. But obviously that company probably wouldn't exist if it was that egregious, right? Like, I'm still going to that restaurant. Well, guess what? I'm still going to PWCC because they are listing the cards. People are consigning the cards that I'm looking to buy. So that is my sole source for purchases. I'm a predominantly football guy. I still collect a lot of baseball, but for those that aren't in the football realm of it, the population reports on football are ridiculously smaller than baseball. Ridiculously. All right. I would bet that in order to meet the numbers of grades on the Mike Trout rookie, you'd have to take like the top 4 or 5 all-time submitted football cards to match that. And I don't even know if it would. That's how ridiculous it is. It just doesn't come close. When you're talking, the big cards from the 50s, there's just 200-300 of them graded, even a Johnny Unitas has probably only got like 2,000 or 3,000 total for rookies. And I'm just spitballing, but I just know everything is so much smaller. So you go where they're at, and PWCC always had them. So that's kind of what I did. I could have cared less, about some of their principles or whatever. I never assumed that they were shill bidding though, so that's a little different. I'm not sure how eBay thinks they have evidence on that or how they're planning on proving that. If that, obviously that should go to a court battle of some sort. Shill bidding was always there. There's not a question about that. Even in this card, well, hell, I'll show it now. This was my last PWCC win. PSA 2, Al Kaline. I've been bidding on one of these for, probably 2 years now. Finally got a good one. I'll try to show that a little better, but not perfectly centered, but fairly well centered. And despite the edges and corners, the color pops really well. And so I'm super happy with that. No snow, nothing like that. But, even like, yeah, this was like the day or two before it happened. It all came down or whatever. I was like, man, that was really squirrely that I just won that for exactly what my top bid that I had placed. That doesn't mean I wasn't going to chase it because like I said, I already purchased some other cards, and was already pushing the budget before I won that one. But to win it exactly for what, that stuff happens too much. But I always just assumed it was the outside, the consigners getting friends bidding on it and stuff like that or whatever. But I throw random bids in on cards. I don't really plan on winning a whole lot either. It's not that I'm driving up prices. I'm not letting that thing go for something stupid low. I will happily take it for these certain prices. So I do bid on cards I don't necessarily plan on winning either. But I'm not sure. I don't want to buy from PWCC or auction houses in general. I liked the fact that when you're talking the consignment game as opposed to auction houses, there's another third party. Just like I like PSA, there's a third party. I like that third party. There's checks and balances there. My dad's a big coin collector, a numismatist, if you will, and he has been doing the auction game for forever, my entire life. We always were getting thick old books in the mail from auction houses. Heritage is the biggest one that I recall always happening for coins, and coins is a whole nother ball game. I imagine maybe certain segments of the sports card community is catching up a little bit, but not close. I don't know. I'm only saying that because coin collectors have to be dying off, because I don't know anybody that's actively picking up that now, but I'm sure there is. But there's a lot of money in coins and stuff. But he'd always told me, like, oh yeah, the auction houses, they can bid on the coins themselves. If it's going too low, they can just purchase it and put it in a future auction or sell it privately or whatever. He just always told me that, and I was like, that sounds terrible. And even better for the auction house, if they think that something, if they can buy that coin, they don't have to pay the fee that comes along with it. Some of those auction houses, I don't know what they are now, but back then he was telling me they were 16% or more sometimes for coins, and it was like, so they're saving that money when they're buying it at the end or whatever. Now, I don't know if, when he was telling me that, he was saying that they could bid along the way, or if it's just that final thing. And I was trying to read up on some of that, different places have different rules, states. It's obviously unethical, for sure, but I think it waffles between states in certain areas, or whether it's illegal and not to do that type of stuff. But none of us want it, for sure, because the ethics are pretty bad there. But I definitely want that third party involved, and not just be buying straight off of PWCC's website and stuff like that. So we'll see. The prices are going to dictate that plenty. Like, if PWCC is selling their own stuff or through their own websites or whatever, and the prices are right, I may have to gravitate there anyway, but with a little bit of a chagrin when I'm heading towards there. But that was pretty big to just do it abruptly. They were the biggest seller of cards. They were getting big time money. I have to have mixed feelings about it, because I know I was on the short end of the stick of getting shield bid and stuff like that. And I got shield bid a lot on cards that I purchased, especially early on, but they were rarer stuff, key 49ers cards or something like that, that I'm not losing that card is what happened a couple of times for sure. But, I have sold through PWCC, and the reason I did not even need to make a decision on who I was selling through. I knew I was selling always. Whenever it happened, I knew I was always selling through PWCC because of the returns that they get. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum for that. I absolutely did not bid on anything of my own, for sure, but it was spring of this year, and so there was no need for that in the first place, because everything was going crazy. And then moving on topics there, tops and licensing and stuff like that. I'll be honest, I didn't know Fanatics was that big. Everybody's coming out, oh, they're $1 billion, whatever. So I guess that's just another segment of collectors, because I have bought from them, absolutely, right? I buy t-shirts here and there, you know, a little knit cap for the winter or something. I never buy jerseys from them because this stuff is just stupid expensive. I don't want the jersey for $350 because at that point, then I feel like I need to hang it on the wall as opposed to be wearing it around. So I usually find some, you know, lesser similar item for like $50. And so I didn't know that people were buying that much stuff from Fanatics and they were that big to be even in this mix. But we'll see. I've already seen a couple of folks putting out thoughts and opinions out there as whether they're going to buy Topps, you know, afterwards, or they're going to lease the licenses out there. I mean, that's got to be a lot of the verbiage within the contract, whether that's allowable or not. Whether they can subcontract, they just call it sub, but to other places, and you know, I don't know if that'll be the intent of the contract, where Fanatics can just, you know, subcontract out 10 different things, because at that point, then we might just get completely oversaturated by more product when they sublease those licenses out. But I think the play has to be to try to buy Topps first. But if not, then maybe they can do that. We'll see. Geez, I hope Topps still exists in some way. I'm still, you know, I would love to see him back in football. I like the shiny stuff, but I like that plain base with a nice crisp border of some sort with a clean picture that can kind of has a plain photo that can be etched in time type of thing that we've come to know and love, obviously through baseball, but I liked it in football as well. For that base around the year that for the year you get the full team set. So we'll see. That's tough. One of the things that branched me over the most to baseball was that consistency that Topps was presenting every year. I love heritage. And, you know, if you guys watched me for a while, the trophy cups and the All-Star trophies that come out, obviously they had them for years, and then and now Heritage does them from the previous, you know, the year that they're mimicking through the set. I just love that. There isn't an equivalent in football. We just don't have one, and I've looked for years. The best thing we've got now recently is a rated rookie. There weren't football rated rookies until like 2010, I think, through Don Russ. And so you just don't have, that's not history, right? That's just, they're getting there, obviously, but we'll see. Tumultuous times there. And that's a tough one. I guess, you know, if I'm sitting on a big collection, all of this type of movement, all of this type of investment, everything like that, I have to, you know, understand that it's probably for the greater good. But as collectors, man, there are constants in this hobby that are comfort zones for us. These are comfortable places. These, you know, this room itself is my safe space, right? And so knowing when a release was happening, knowing what the cards were roughly going to look like or whatever, these were safe, comfortable things for us. There were some constants, some, you know, it wasn't a variable if Topps was going to exist. You know, it was just a slight variable if this person shows up in update versus, you know, series 1 of the next year, a flagship, you know, blah, blah, blah. So to have this much change or whatever, I don't know. It's a little undesirable, but I think, you know, for the greater good, it'll happen. I mean, it's happening, but it'll happen for the greater good in the long run. But we'll see, you know. I love seeing remakes of cards like this too, you know. There's a Juan Soto from Topps Now. I'd love to get at some point that looks just like this, you know. That's crazy. It's also weird that the license for the MLB PA is on a different timetable than the one with MLB. So what that could mean, and this is just me offhand, is when the one runs out for MLB PA, but Topps still has one with MLB, they could probably still issue out things like 5-star and stuff like that, where they have like those veteran autos and things, but it would just be solely those types of things. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I just talked myself out of that one probably. I don't know if the Hall of Fame, the ex-players are still in MLB PA or they fall under something else. I don't know how that works or whatever, but I don't know what you would do for an extra 3 years if you have the ability to put team logos on your cards, but you don't have the ability to use the renderings of the players themselves. But so it's weird that that's not even the same year and there's an offset, but we'll see what happens. No hot takes there, but I'm 15 minutes into video with only showing one card. I guess it was a pretty good card, but those are some random thoughts. Hopefully people stop fucking with my safe space here. Stop changing stuff. I just want to be able to buy a box of wax at Walmart or Target and crack it open and get a couple of cards of players I like. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. But anyway, here's some other cards that I picked up. Luis Garcia gold foil. Thought I had one and then couldn't find it, so I bought one for a decent price. And then the reason I couldn't find it is because the one I did have was in my potential grading pile. And so I found it. So I got a couple of those now. You know, I got these for the right price regardless, but they had listed them as refractor, and I could have done some homework, but they put it as several of these were 52 Redux refractors, and so I was like, oh, there's a refractor version, let me get that. And they're not. I don't consider them refractor because that's the only kind that exists, and if the white border doesn't also shine, I don't consider that card a refractor. And I don't think Topps does either because they don't slap refractor names on any of that stuff. But got the Juan Soto. I picked them up knowing they at least had some good centering to go along with it. Got the Strass as well. And the Scherzer's on his way. Should have been here by now, but never showed up. Got the Juan Soto. This is a refractor from Chrome. The 65. Oh, no, here's the Scherzer. I thought I was missing it. Picked up this Luis Garcia. It's our second baseman. He's only batting like 216 right now, so hopefully he gets his act together. But this is tier 1 out of 300. Snagged that when they called him back up after we traded literally everybody on the team, and so all the bums from Double and Triple A got to move on up. And then pick this up. This is an SP Action one from Heritage of Garcia. And a couple of Hall of Fame rookies on the football side of the house. Got the George McAfee from 48. This is pretty cool. Prices are coming down for auctions in large scale. Not necessarily the PWCC ones, but even some of them are coming down relative to where they were. But I only had a 5 of this before I sold off my big chunk of the collection there. So to get a 5.5 that it's a nicer, higher grade and a nicer version, pretty happy with that. Picked up this 51 Arnie Weinmeister. That's a 6, and that is what I had, but this is a better centered and lighthouse label version. And then I did have a 10 of this, but picked up the 9 of Orlando Pace from 97 SP Authentic. So that's what I got for you. Bart's cards on a Friday night. Would absolutely love to show you a PSA return at some point, but I'm looking at 161 cards there, and there's been absolutely no movement. And I haven't seen that there used to be an IG page that would give you updates when they were cleared through, like what had been received and what had already been pushed out as of date. I haven't seen an update from that one in quite some time, but is what it is. I need to get me some Top Series 2. I haven't seen it anywhere yet, so hopefully at some point when I get on eBay or wherever, I can find some boxes that people aren't trying to pillage you for the prices on. But thanks for watching. 20 minutes in. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekends. Later.